Hi, it's Tim Hagen from Progress Coaching, and welcome to another episode of Coaching Conversations. And I wanted to make you aware of something very cool that we're doing on a subscription basis, and we'll put a link in each one of our episodes. But every Wednesday, we're going to be doing what we call an audio podcast workshop. That workshop will be roughly about 14 to maybe 20 minutes per episode, with each month having a theme from a coaching model, using feedback strategically, to coaching self-awareness, and so on. So if you could, look in the body or in the content description of each episode, and you will see a link where you can join this subscription. These are literally 4 workshops every month, teaching specific strategies to address a particular area of workplace coaching, as it relates, again, to things like awareness, motivation, teamwork, and what have you. Here's the cool thing. It's only $10 per month, and each month you will get a handout that we will follow along with. So we also give you a tool for you to take notes as we go through each episode. We hope you'll check it out. 2023 is the year of the conversation. I believe if people get back to the basics, we will be in a much better place inside our workplace cultures. Let me give you a case in point. In the last 2 weeks, I've had 7 conversations with clients and non-clients, and every single situation came down to how people were misunderstood, or a conversation was never had, or things were taken out of context. It all comes back to the conversation. You know, often we spend all this time and money, and we spend money in our corporate values and our principles, and we start to have conversations around our values and living our life values or our corporate values, when in fact, conversations drive cultures. Workplace cultures are made up of the conversations within them. Let me give you a very simple example. Let's say a leader calls somebody into the office and starts to ask questions about a project. And every time the employee spoke, the leader interrupts and says, no, you're not listening. You didn't do this the right way. What happens after that conversation? Essentially, we tend to think as leaders it stays in that room. It does not. That person will end up sharing it with 2, 3, 4, 5 other people, whether fair or unfair. So when we're having conversations in 2023, I would encourage you to focus on 2 main areas: motivation and career. The McKinsey organization did a great study in the 4th quarter of 2022 and pointed out that 41% of people were looking for jobs or were in the process of looking for jobs due to a lack of career development. Now, think about that. 1 out of 2 employees, a little bit under that, but almost 4 out of 10 employees are literally looking to leave. So think if you're a leader with 10 employees. Think about, I've got to retrain 40% of my staff by the end of the year. Now, what can we do to mitigate this? Number 1, do not try to motivate as it relates to the job. First, find out what motivates that person. And I'm going to give you something that we call the L conversation series. L really stands for love, like, and dislike. Ask people currently, what do you love about what you're currently doing? What do you like about what you're currently doing? What do you dislike about what you're currently doing? And really listen. If they can't answer love, they're probably in a job they're going to leave soon. If they list a lot of things about love, then you can nurture that. You can reinforce it. You can give them more of that. Same with like. Now you can then go to another level of the conversation and say, futuristically, what would you love to be doing? What would you like to be doing? What would you like or what would you dislike to be doing going forward as it relates to a futuristic state? By the way, that is not always a promotion. And again, my friend Julie Giulioni wrote a great book called Promotions Are So Yesterday. And she has this great assessment in the book, and it identifies 8 areas of what really turn people on today from a motivational career aspiration standpoint. It's a must read. Again, the title of the book is Promotions Are So Yesterday. With that being said, I would go to a career development conversation. So if you find out what motivates, ask them. And you can do this in something what we call a whiteboard coaching conversation. In column 1 on a whiteboard, this could be in person or digital, say to somebody, currently, where do you feel like you have strengths? Where do you feel like you have opportunities to grow as it relates to your current position? What do you love? What do you like? What do you dislike? Then go to column 3, not column 2, go to column 3 and ask, in your ideal world, what would you love to be doing? What would you like to be doing? What would you like to avoid or, potentially that falls into the category of dislike to do? Where do you feel like you have strengths to that destination? Where do you feel like you have opportunities to grow? And ultimately what they're doing is they're creating their own visualization of where they are and where they want to go. Then you go to column 2 and say, what do we need to do to get towards the stuff in column 3? What do you think we need to do together to move in that direction? And what they're actually doing is co-authoring their change. It's really cool. Here's the funny thing. The basis of whiteboard coaching is, let's be candid, when we're asking these questions, very often our employees are giving us answers that we want to hear as leaders. Ultimately, what this does is it uses a visualization technique. And if you read Tasha Urich's book, Insights, 95% of the people in her survey said they were highly self-aware. When she tested them, she found out only 10% were. So the whiteboard becomes the mirror. So when all the things are written up on the whiteboard, whether in person or digitally, the employee who's answering these questions is not just looking at a whiteboard, they're looking at themselves. So 1, find out what motivates. Do not assume. Make a list of your people. When you find out what motivates someone, you have an emotional point of leverage. Not to manipulate, but if somebody says, I want to work more with data analytics, and you find that out and you do something about it, you just became a leader that's very tough to quit on. Thank you for listening to another episode of Coaching Conversations by Tim Hagen and Progress Coaching. Now, our company is always coming out with new and innovative solutions to help leaders coach their employees. And recently, we just created a new service called Coach to You, where leaders can pick and choose topics and assign 7 to 21-day programs for employees to learn and, more importantly, apply actions and then reflect and share what they're going to do going forward as a result of the learning. It's called Coach to You. We're literally bringing coaching to your employees. If you're intrigued, we'll have a link in each one of our episodes where you can get more information. And again, thank you so much for listening to another episode.